Good evening, this is News Mongolia. I'm Satang Horst in the MNB World studio. For our top stories, restaurants allowed to reopen after a protest campaign. Doctors and nurses demand that their salaries are doubled. Urgent call needed for forest pest control. For other news, stay tuned. The Minister of Health reported that 1,811 new COVID-19 cases were confirmed nationwide in the past 24 hours, and 15 more people have died.
As of today, 1,811 new cases were confirmed among over 10,000 people who took COVID-19 tests nationwide. 574 patients who were being treated at hospitals and 260 patients who were being treated at home recovered within the past 24 hours. Unfortunately, 15 people between the ages of 38 to 83 died due to the COVID-19 complications. All new cases of domestic transmission, 983 out of which were confirmed in Ulaanbaatar, and the remaining 823 were confirmed in the provinces. Among the 14,189 COVID-19 patients being treated at hospitals nationwide, 9,463 are showing mild symptoms of illness and 264 are in critical condition. Additionally, 25,968 patients are being treated at home. Yesterday, over 1,950 people received COVID-19 vaccines nationwide. Health officials warned the public to stay alert and follow strict social distancing, as not only the hospitals are filled to capacity, but more importantly, the health sector is facing a workforce shortage to fight against COVID-19 as more and more cases are being confirmed daily.
Last week, owners of restaurants and cafes protested the government's decision to extend the lockdown measure banning dine-in options. State officials responded by reviewing their request to allow dining in. On June 26th, restaurants and cafes were allowed to reopen for dining in after signing a liability agreement. Under the liability agreement, restaurants and cafes will be allowed to serve customers who can provide proof of vaccination. They will be allowed to serve at only 50% of their dining room capacity, and social distancing measures will be strictly enforced. The city government signed agreements with 2,510 eateries. Mayor Somyawatar noted that if the operations of these businesses go smoothly, the city will review restrictions for other industries as well.
Together, let's strictly follow our agreement and rules. If all entities operate under these strict rules, the city is ready to support you in all possible ways. If things go smoothly without accelerating transmission, the city administration is considering allowing reopening for other sectors, including fitness centers, gyms, tourist camps, and resorts.
If the terms of the liability agreement are violated, the businesses will be shut down and face penalties. Under the agreement, businesses can reopen by taking responsibility for minimizing the risk of transmission. Around 20,000 doctors and nurses signed a petition calling for their salaries to be doubled. Trade union representatives met with the Ministry of Health last week to discuss their demands. The trade union representatives have started submitting documentation to report the violation of their rights as workers. While COVID-19 cases are surging, the workload for doctors and nurses has reached a critical level. The trade union representatives complained that overtime pay for healthcare workers, funding for family medical practices, and vaccination have been delayed. They also asked the Ministry of Health to provide full-time pay to healthcare workers who contracted COVID-19 while on the job. Minister Ingpot stated that their request for full-time pay for healthcare workers infected while working at hospitals and clinics will receive full-time pay while undergoing treatment and recovery. He said that the ministry will review the request for a salary increase. An increase would be standardized across the pay scale and there would be no salary cap restrictions. This year, Mongolia's National Nadam Festival will go digital for the second time. During the 3-day of Nadam, the opening ceremony and the 3 main games of the festival, horse racing, wrestling, and archery will be broadcast live without a public audience attending the events. Mongolia's National Naadam Festival, featuring traditional sports, is celebrated from July 10th to 12th every year. The National Stadium in Ulaanbaatar and Huitolanghotek, a valley just outside of the capital, are usually packed for the summer festival. But for a second year in a row, Mongolians will be watching the festival at home, on TV or online. The government has allocated a budget of 3 billion Mongolian tugruks, around $1 million, to produce this year's broadcast-only festival.
Organizing teams and athletes will be tested for COVID-19 prior to the festival. Organizers will stay on site for 3 days. Of course, vaccination certificates will be verified. Food vendors are not allowed to operate.
Officials and the public debated celebrating the festival this year. COVID-19 case numbers haven't been showing any signs of going down, and some people wanted the government to skip the festival and avoid the expenditures. However, the government has decided to organize a broadcast-only Naadam festival to recognize its cultural significance. Around 250 artists will take part in the opening ceremony, which will be filmed prior to the broadcast. Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Thank you for staying with us on MNB World. Now let's take a look at Mongolia's current affairs.
The winner of the show Dancing with the Stars, Batur, yesterday donated 50 million tugriks to the UN Children's Fund. In addition to the 50 million tugriks in prize money, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, will build a fully equipped jiu-jitsu sports center in the Unurput shelter. The winner of the show, Batur, said, "I'm glad that the children in the orphanage will be provided with a sports ground and that the children will have the opportunity to train every day. I want this initiative to expand so that orphanages and suburban children have access to martial arts halls." In Ulaanbaatar, 262 doctors and workers from 36 settlements and 36 bags will work on immunizing 12,594 people. Also starting from June 28th, children between the ages of 12 and 15 will receive the Pfizer vaccine on a voluntary basis. Parents and guardians wishing to vaccinate their child must contact the Pfizer vaccination center in their area and complete a consent form. This week, starting June 28, 2021, Ulaanbaatar will have 4 permanent and 2 mobile COVID-19 testing stations. Testing points are open daily from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Extensive reading techniques are gaining momentum around the world, and there is a growing trend among language learners to improve language skills by reading and listening to books in simpler, more interesting ways. Due to the current situation, the conference will be held online, and teachers, researchers, and students wishing to participate can participate online from their countries. More than 300 to 500 teachers from more than 100 countries of the world will attend international conferences. The 5th conference was held in Taiwan in 2019, where 3 teachers from Mongolia participated. In general, participants and researchers from around the world shared their experiences of using this extensive reading method in their lessons. The International Conference Extensive Reading Around the World will take place from August 13 to 15, 2021.
Researchers say 590,000 hectares of Mongolian forest have been affected by pests. But the budget for eradication and pest management has been lowered this year. Still, researchers say that the urgent counteraction is crucial at this moment. The Forest Research Development Center at the Ministry of Environment and Tourism has recently conducted a study across 2 million hectares of Mongolian territory. The results showed that a total of 590,000 hectares are badly infected by pests and are in need of urgent eradication. Deadly forest insect species have currently been found in 128 zones of 16 provinces. Some species of pests have also found in the forest near the capital city. This is a Jacobson's spanworm. It feeds on 3 leaves and needles. It is considered as a primary pest. If this insect feeds on a tree for 2 to 3 years, the tree will deteriorate and become home to a second pest. In the end, the tree will die. In last 2 years, airplane spraying wasn't carried out due to insufficient funding caused by the pandemic. In 2021, only 750 million Mongolian tukruk was budgeted for controlling forest diseases and insects, which is a lot lower compared to previous years of at least 1 billion Mongolian tukruks. Backpack spray, light trap, airplane sprays are tools mainly used pest control. Experts say the increasing number of pests has been caused by a shortage of pest-eating birds and climate change. They also said if the forest is invaded by these invasive insects, it doesn't recover in 3 years. Here is an inspirational story of an artist who is igniting hope during the pandemic. Artist Gurbatam paints fences of 3 to 4 families a day, and he doesn't charge for his service. Gurbatam graduated from the Rajiv Gandhi Polytechnic College of Production and Art in 2011 as an artist. From 2018, he started painting and decorating family fences in Gir districts. During the pandemic, he is painting interesting pictures on the fences and remodeling them free of charge.
While I'm drawing, kids come and praise my work. They also want to draw with me. I usually draw pictures of children's favorite cartoon characters, and they really love it.
Gurbatam said it's important to lift one's spirit high to overcome this pandemic. He hopes his artworks are making families and children happy.
Families contact me when they want to decorate their fences. I took my art supplies and do the drawing for free, and I receive nice warm words. I just want to send joy to at least a single family during the pandemic.
He usually paints the fences of a maximum of 3 families a day. It takes 3 to 4 hours to paint one family's fence. He said he wanted to help people as much as he could, regardless of the weather condition. Here comes the weather forecast for the world's major cities. This is it for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.